All right, my man. State your name and let them know you on Real Talk with Nick.
Dave Cain, fam. Dave Cain.
All right, that's what it is, man. Let them know about yourself, Dave Cain. Before we get into it, are you a Knick fan?
I'm not a Knick fan, but I root for them to win.
Okay, man. Sense. So we're going to jump into that later on, but I want you, per se, to give the viewers a back history of yourself. You know what I'm saying? How you got into the game of basketball.
Okay.
You growing up in these Harlem streets. Let's start there, man.
Okay, like you said, I'm from Harlem.
Right.
Right there on 120th Street, 5th Avenue. It was crazy. Similar to my boy Dave interview yesterday, I'm a baseball player too.
Oh, that's how you started off?
My first love, baseball. But I started going to Melbourne for the after-school program. And that kind of got me into the basketball more officially than just playing around in the park. And they had the Saturday morning intramural tournament. That's probably the first tournament I ever played in.
Yeah.
And first time playing under the whistle. Let me say that. So that started, probably it was 11, 12. It was a major tournament for us at that time. A lot of the guys from the area right in the project, guys that went on to play college ball, we all kind of started in that Melbourne Saturday tournament, which is crazy.
Okay. And how was it playing in St. John University?
St. John's was like it was like a gift and a curse, to be honest with you.
Why you say that?
It was great because I was close to home. You know, one of the main reasons I went to St. John's is I had a daughter when I was in high school, so I didn't want to go far from her. So I wanted to be on TV, the guard, and all that stuff. But basketball-wise, it didn't play out how I planned. Me and Connor Secker kind of didn't see eye to eye on a lot of things, and I really didn't get regular minutes my first 3 years, and then I had a monster senior year. So that's what I mean. It was, it was good and bad, but it's all life lessons, though.
Now, you said you didn't see eye to eye with the coach, right?
Yes.
I'm starting to hear that more and more often when I speak to ball players, you know, and people outside the game who might not know what goes on when we speak of the politics.
Oh, well, to me, the politics is real. So you got to remember at that time, we 18, 19, 20. So we probably, and I was kind of outspoken guy too, but we didn't have the voice like we have now to come out and say that because it's so-called not politically correct. You know what I'm saying? And your word is really not going to carry more weight than a Hall of Fame coach, or an established coach. So nobody's really trying to hear you anyway. But my politics thing, and this is just my theory from St. John's at that time, they always treated the players who wasn't from New York better than the players from New York. Because at that time, they had the New York pipeline. So, like, I was going to St. John's regardless. Like, they didn't even really have to recruit me. Like I told you, I was going just to stay close to my daughter. But they had that New York pipeline on lock that I thought when they got a guy, like, from a different city or a different part of the country, they treated them better because they always wanted to keep those lines open. And they took for granted the lines they had open here. That's my theory.
So you think New York ball players got some type of stigmatization?
I don't even think it's the ball players. I just think they took for granted that we're going to always, like, if we do one dirty, we're going to always be able to get another one. We're going to always be able to get another one. But if you're in New York and you get a kid from Kansas, you do him dirty, you might not never get another kid from Kansas. You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
I'm not sending if you're a coach or a parent, I'm not sending a kid all the way to New York and he not playing or getting jerked. But if you do that to a kid in New York, at that time, to my 80s, 90s, got hundreds of kids who's nice like that. So we do one dirty, it ain't going to stop the pipeline. So that's how I felt about it.
All right. Now I want to talk about you playing under, I believe it was Brian Mahoney.
Yeah.
How was that experience?
That was the great experience. That was my senior year. And that was actually his first year. He took over for Connor Secker.
So, right, and you won the Big East.
Yeah. So we was good, man. We was picked like 9th to finish in the 9th out of 10 to finish in the Big East. We actually finished second. He won Coach of the Year. I was first team All Big East.
Right, so, that was your first time in the triple double.
Yeah, I had a triple double in the NCAA tournament. One of probably about 10, I believe, at this point.
They said the first ever to do it.
First ever in St. John's history. Yeah.
Yeah. Let it be known, man. Let it be known.
We put work in, man, and I give him a lot of credit because he didn't have too much ego to really be like, yo, I don't know what I don't know. Like, and most coaches ain't gonna give you that. Like, they're not gonna come to you and say, yo, Dave, what time you think is a good time for us to practice? Or like, coaches not giving you that input, and he was giving it up like that. I can't front, and I respect him for that because I had my pulse on the team way more than he ever would have had his pulse on the team. So he'd come to me like, yo, should we practice before we travel? When we land, should we do it in the morning? Should we do evening? should we go? So he was we was collaborating there. And I was like, bro, I can hold my end of the bargain. You can just make the subs. I got the rest of this. And we just had a great year.
Okay. Now, how was it playing with David Edwards at the AAU ball?
Wow. First of all, God bless. Rest in peace. You know what I'm saying? That was my boy since we've been 14. So I was we was a monster. We had our Gauchos crew was a legendary crew. And Dave it's crazy when I first started really playing the Gaucho, he was with Riverside.
Right.
So when I started playing probably midgets, we played against them. This is funny. If New Yorkers know, we played in citywide in the championship, Riverside and Gauchos. So I think it's midgets. And Dave was probably the most advanced dude at midgets that I can remember, that I went against, because I was still like growing gradually. But at 14, he was already awesome. You know what I'm saying?
So he influenced you, like he
his game let me know I had work to do.
In what area of the game?
Yeah, I definitely had work to do.
Concerning what?
I mean, he was just nicer than us by far at that point. So I'm just like, damn, this what this is like. That probably was my first time playing against Riverside, being with the Gauchos. So it just kind of gave you a different perspective. Like, yo, this is he was on a whole another level. And even moving forward, like I think even in high school, Dave averaged 40. So he was a bucket getter. But playing with him was smooth. We both was terrors on defense. And anybody that know Dave know just being around him, traveling, jokester, talk slick, everything. Right. So that was my guy there, man. I miss that dude.
Okay. Now, from your days of playing college basketball, right? Mm-hmm. You got to the pros, right?
Yeah. Last cut of the Knicks, yeah.
Last cut of the Knicks. What's the transition like? You know what I'm saying? Like some say it's a big difference, college ball to making a transition to play in the NBA. Mm-hmm. Any challenges you face? Like,
well, the biggest challenge is obviously the strength. I had to get my weight up, and the strength and the speed of the game.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The speed of the game is crazy. What really tripped me out when I really first was in practice and camp, that 3-point line looked real close on TV than it is in person. I ain't gonna lie. That 3-pointer from the top of the key, I ain't gonna lie. I couldn't even make that thing reach when I first got there.
But in college, playing for St. John was an easy task to do.
It wasn't easy, but I think it was more my situation was what made it tough. But the only good thing, I never lost confidence in my game, even when I was going through everything I was going through out there. Because every summer, I was playing in the Pro-Am against pros and guys from overseas. I went to the Olympic Festival. Like, I was killing everywhere else but there. So when they were trying to tell me I wasn't playing because it was my fault, I never bought into that. And I kept my confidence, and I was like, when my chance comes, I'm going to rock out, and that's what happened.
Okay. Now, I want to touch on personal, subject. On your 49th birthday, you threw a party.
Yeah.
Amongst, David Britton.
Yeah, man.
Edwards. Yeah.
Like you said, that was like my 49th birthday a couple years ago, and that was right at the start of COVID.
Right.
So, obviously, we lost a lot of good brothers at that stretch. I think I lost Lee Green, Dave Everett.
Right.
Excuse me, bro. Can you cut that music down? We're doing the interview, please?
Please.
Cool. Yeah. Thank you. No problem. And so I lost Lee Green, we lost Dave Evers, and we lost Jonathan Duck.
Right.
We lost those 3 dudes within a matter of 4 days. So,
due to COVID.
Yeah. And the thing, it was tough with Lee because I had a party that Saturday. That was around the 14th or whatever it might have been. And I was like, yo, Lee, we having a party up at Mom's Cigar Lounge. White Plains come through. Rock out. He was like, and people know Lee. Lee loved to DJ. That's like his second love after basketball. So Lee like, nah, D, I want to DJ it for you. So I'm like, bro, come on, I just want you to party with me. I don't want you all over. He like, nah, he wanted to do his thing with the music. Cool. So we go through, we have a beautiful night. Like you said, it was some of New York finest that played ball. We probably 50, 60 deep. Beautiful night. Drinks, smoke our cigars, doing what we do. So that was Saturday. I believe I caught COVID that Wednesday. But I think Lee must have got it like Monday or Tuesday. I didn't get word of it. But that Friday, he was in the hospital. And I heard he was doing bad. Then he got better. Like on Monday, I heard he came home, but was doing better. Sunday, then I got to work Monday. He passed away. So
yeah, I'm sorry.
That was crazy, man. And probably 10 to 15 of us deep probably caught COVID that night, and it's like a double-edged sword. You think about it, because we actually had talks right even before we did the party, like, yo, should we even go through with it? Is people gonna be comfortable coming out? And he was like, yeah, we didn't really know what we end up knowing about it. So it was like, cool, we come through, we take the precautions, and we'll just move forward. But definitely, I don't know. Like I said, it was a great night, but probably one that definitely would want to.
I'm sorry, man, for your loss, man.
That's for sure.
Now you played the guard position.
Yeah.
Right. You look at the game today, man. Do you think the game changed when you speak of the position you once played?
Oh, it's definitely a different game and different job for point guards, because most of the point guards now are scorers, and that's it's like the Chris Pauls, the Rondos, those guys. That's not the sexy position no more as far as when I see kids. Like I got 2 sons that play, and I coach, and all the kids want to do is get buckets. Like getting 10 and 10 is not sexy to me anymore. If they want to get 20, 25, and it's hard because the kids, even N.b.a, I don't want to say kids, the generation is more talented than we were, but the game is such at a low point with the IQ wise that I can't even really watch it to that level, because whatever level of being good that I wasn't really based on talent. It was more based on I had a good IQ, high IQ for the game. So,
and you think that's what's lacking in today's game?
That's what's lacking. This is the dumbest era of basketball ever. And that's just real talk. And even dispute. Most talented, but definitely the lowest IQ of basketball ever. So that's what makes it hard for me, because that's what was my strength, is just understanding and playing the game.
Can you give an example when we speak of lack of IQ?
Man, just shot selection, defensive rotation. And the funny thing, I don't know if it's game planning or is it coaching. Say like on the AAU level, coaching, I start there. My son plays, right? I coached him for 4 years, then I passed him off. So sometimes I see him play and hit, and I'm like, yo, bro, just box out, watch the break. He'll do it, he won't do it consistently. So I'm like, yo, I've been telling you the same thing for this many years, right? How is not second nature right now? Now I have a talk with somebody else that say, you know what, this generation I think is visual learners, they're not audio learners. So now I got to reassess how I'm doing. Because I'm telling them, you're 95 students, so you're not stupid. So I'm like, bro, I've been telling you the same thing. Why is it not sinking in? But everything I'm telling them is from my generation, from my principles. But then as soon as he cut the TV on, he not going to see that. College, N.b.a, and then we travel for AAU, he not going to see it. So it's like a conundrum there, like, yeah, Dad, you keep telling me this, but I can't see what you're telling me because nobody plays like that. To give you an example, we watching the NBA Finals. I don't even watch much NBA basketball at this point, but we watching the Finals, and I like the job that the coach from Boston did this year. But I'm saying, who thinks it's a good idea to keep switching Al Horford on to Steph Curry with the game on the line? 5 possessions in a row, you switch Horford on to Curry, don't send no help, don't double, and let him go one-on-one and think that's going to work out in your favor. We don't got to even be an NBA coach to know that's not going to work out in your favor. And you lose a championship, NBA championship, based on that theory, that's ridiculous to me.
Okay, now I want Knick talk, baby.
Huh?
Knick talk. We're going to get into it, all right?
Okay.
Who are you most impressed with, when you speak of players who played your position? When we speak of today's game.
In the league right now?
In the league, or as a Knick.
But you saying who Knick's roster?
Yeah, that's what I meant. Excuse me. Let me clarify that.
I mean, I like Brunson.
What you like about his game? We speak of Brunson.
I like Brunson because he's the first. It seems like, I don't know how good or bad somebody might think he is, but he seems to win wherever he's at. So you can't ignore that. I think he's solid fundamentally. I think he's bigger and stronger than what people think. I actually watched the kid grow up. His dad, Rick, is from Syracuse, which I'm up there. So I watched him grow up. The kid can play. I like his demeanor. I like his poise. And I think he's going to be for a big year. People don't know. He averaged 16 and maybe 5 or 6, and that was playing off the ball with Luka. So if they're going to really put the ball in his hands, I think he can really step his game up.
Do you think he's a defense liability?
No more than anybody else in the league. There's only a few. First of all, it doesn't even matter. I don't think dudes is ISO on him and just abusing him. I don't see that.
You don't see that? Some
say
that.
Like, what he was doing to Donovan Mitchell,
I was about to get.
Yeah, but I don't see that being done to him.
No?
And he's strong. And he's much stronger than people think.
Some are concerned that Jalen Brunson's an undersized guard. And that he's going to...
No, he's not. He's
going to run... I'm sorry. But he's going to run into problems when you come across bigger guards like Drew Holiday, Marcus Smart. I think that's going to be an issue.
I don't think that's an issue because I think what people don't understand, that kid is really strong. Like, he guarded a lot of ones and twos last year. Yeah, remember, they were playing 3 guards last year, even though Luka's kind of big, and Luka's big. So he can hold his own defensively, strength-wise. I don't even worry about that. But to be honest with you, most guards, I mean, Drew is an exception defensively and offensively. Marcus Smart, defensively, yeah, offensively, I don't really rock with him like that. So a lot of these guys are flawed. Let me take that back. I won't say flawed, but either they get buckets or you have someone who can play deep. But it's rare you get a combination that do both.
Okay. And when I mention a player like Julius Randle, right, who some questions his leadership, versus some say he just can't handle the media when you speak of that of New York.
Okay.
Do you agree? Which side of the coin do you think it is?
I think both of those are true. I think he's too sensitive. Definitely to be in New York, because it seems like every time he's criticized, he pouts or gets into it with the fans. I just think they had that success 2 years ago. I think maybe it just really started how coaches tell us back in the days, reading your own press clippings, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think he's a good player, but like being that they don't have no superstars, everybody's pushed up a position into a role they're really not suited for. He's not a number one option on a contending team, but that's what they had him. But they have no choice. But I think he really started believing he's that dude. And when you start coming back to reality, I think it was when he got exposed against Atlanta, I think that just, that was his first getting the other side of New York.
Right. Because he was playing out. He was not in the bubble no more.
It was a honeymoon period first, because they overachieved 2 years ago. Now when you got expectations, you're not sneaking up on nobody. It's a different game, man. He just seemed like he struggled with the fans booing, negative media. And he, in New York, you gotta be able to let that roll off your shoulder. And he don't seem like he was able to do that.
Okay. R.J. Barrett, man. When I mentioned R.J. Barrett, was you high on him during his rookie season, man?
No, I'm not an R.J. Barrett fan.
Not at all?
At all. But to be fair to him, last 20, 25 games of the season last year, he balled out. So hopefully that can continue. Like, I always felt he was selfish. I watched him at Duke with Zion.
Whoa. Yeah. You said R.J. Barrett is a selfish player?
Without a doubt.
Can you explain? What makes R.J. Barrett a selfish player?
Because he would rather, and like I said, excluding the last 20 games, 25 games. So this is 2.5 years, and I watched him at Duke. He would rather get his numbers than do what was best for the team. That's what I took away from that. I watch him in transition. I watch him on 3-on-1, 2-on-1. He plays for numbers. Me watching the game, understanding the game, he's trying to get his numbers.
And you don't think Julius Randle's trying to get his?
He's selfish offensively too. But I don't know if Julius Randle is selfish as far as numbers. He's selfish as just wanting the ball in his hand, which most best players on every team want the ball in their hand. But Julius Randle will pass and get 7, 8. He might overpass this too much sometimes. So I don't think he's selfish in that manner. He just wants the ball. He just wants the offense to run through him.
Right.
At that point, he was their best player on the team. However you feel about him, that's facts. So he got a right to feel that way.
Okay.
But when I was watching R.J. Barrett at Duke, everybody knows Zion was a better player. I would think you would know that.
Right.
He didn't want to give the ball to him like that, and he wasn't trying to. What was best for him at Duke was been to run that thing through Zion. He wasn't having that. I watched him the first 2 years in the league. He just, and I got guys and friends as Knicks fans arguing like, yo, bro, this dude will not kick it. He will not. He put his head down, take mad bad shots, force it on the break. So I was never really a fan of his. But to his credit, to be fair, towards that second half of the season, he came along. I got to respect the work he put in there. Can't front on that.
Okay. Do you see him potentially becoming an all-star? Do you see an all-star break?
This is what I will say. I don't know.
With a point guard with Jalen Brunson who could feed and facilitate?
I think, well, if he allows that, I believe he could. Because you got to remember now, they just gave Jalen Brunson $100 million. So that tells me y'all plan on putting the ball in his hand. I'm assuming you don't give a point on $100 million unless you're gonna let him run the show. But then you got two guys who, to this point, is only effective with the ball in their hand. Julius Randle ain't no spot up shooter, not no move without the ball guy, and RJ is not that. He's at his best with the ball in his hand. So I'm curious to see how that works. Somebody's gonna have to sacrifice a little bit and see what's what. So, but one thing I will give him, he has the attitude to be an all-star because he don't really care about nobody, which is a great thing.
Right.
And he gonna keep going. So, and that's a sign of most great players. Unfortunately, everybody who got the attitude ain't great, but that's definitely a sign of it.
Okay, man. And last but not least, I want to talk about Donovan Mitchell, man. Everybody's saying bring in Don. Well, some don't want him here. We split.
Okay.
Because some say, bringing him here is like the Carmelo Anthony situation all over again, where you're going to give up all your picks and you got to trade all your players. You're giving up too much. You're going to make your starting five strong and your bench is going to be weak. You hear it all. I also hear he's an ISO player like Carmelo.
Baby Melo.
Yeah, Baby Melo. So what's your input on that, man? Do you think the Knicks is making a grave mistake, jumping the gun, fishing for Donovan Mitchell? And is he a superstar? That's another thing, man. Some say he's a borderline.
We can start right there. To me, not a superstar.
Okay.
I give him definitely a star in this league. Definitely not a superstar. But my thing as far as should the Knicks do it, it's hard for me to say because I don't know what the offer is, what they got to give up for him. So I mean, you might enlighten me on what they talking about giving up for him.
Well, it was one time they was talking about RJ, Obi was in the mention, Quentin Grimes.
I'm not giving all that up for
him.
If it was RJ, then that should almost be. You got to make the salaries fit, but that should almost be a one-to-one. Then maybe add another player or maybe a couple of draft picks. But I mean, he will bring the guard some star power, some excitement. Because even as good as RJ is, or whatever they're gonna be, or Randle, whatever, none of them, and Brunson, none of them guys are exciting. So that's part of the package too. So if you get a guy that's he is exciting. If you can't say nothing else about Mitchell. So I mean, I would give him a couple players and a couple picks for him, but like you said, I wouldn't give up the farm for him, though.
Okay, and I'm going to squeeze two more questions in. Obi Toppin, man. Are you high on Obi?
To be honest with you, just really haven't seen enough. I really never understood that pick because at this point, this is 2 years ago now, and Julius Randle was your best player, so you use the sixth pick in the draft to draft somebody at the same position your best players. Really made no sense to me because he's never going to get the opportunity to show what he can be unless you get ready to get Randle out of here. So if he's your power forward and you paying Randle, he get $100 million too, I believe. I believe Randle is a $100 million player too.
He got 119.
Yeah, so you give your power forward $100 million, then you draft a power forward with the sixth pick in the draft. Really didn't make no sense. So I see his potential though. I see he started hitting that three as the season progressed last year. Obviously his athleticism speaks for itself. So I think he has potential, but if you tell me I can get a bona fide proven star right now, I'm not holding that deal up off of potential though.
Okay, and last but not least, the coach, Tom Thibodeau, man. Are you high on Tom Thibodeau as a coach, man? Do you think he's lacking IQ? Because you said not only players, but coaches.
I don't think he's the most innovative coach as far as offensively, what they're running. I guess defensively was all his calling card, but I don't really see a defense vibe. Right now, I don't know what the Knicks' identity is. Let me say that. I think 2 years ago, when they was underdogs, you kind of felt that underdog mentality. But I don't really feel like, and I don't know, as a player, a coach usually, like, when we start feeling success, you got to actually go harder so motherfuckers don't start slacking off. So I really don't have, I can't really tell, to be honest with coaching, because he could be the best coach and give you the right everything, and these dudes might just not listen. So it's hard to judge from the outside without speaking to somebody involved. Because I've seen coaches give the players the exact blueprint, and they go right out there and do something totally different. So it's like, do I blame the coach, or is these dudes not executing what he's putting in? So I gotta fall back on Thibodeau a little bit without talking to somebody that's around him a little bit. But he did get Coach of the Year 2 years ago, so we can't ignore that. So we'll see what they do this year.
All right, my man. That's what it is, man. I want to thank Mr. David Cain coming on Real Talk with Nick, man.
Yes, sir.
It's a pleasure having you, man.
Appreciate it, bro.
All right.